Hello there. Today we're going to be reviewing the Nanuk 935 hard case for your photo and video gear. So let's get started. The exterior, you've got a very hard case. It's quite heavy. Okay, so this is not a light piece of kit. It's well engineered. The finishing and the texture, it just screams ruggedness, like it'll last for a lifetime. You've got a handle at the top that protrudes out when used, but sucks back in when it's not used. The handle that you pull out to use for the wheels has got a little button that you press with your thumb if you're right-handed, and then you can pull it out. What I like about this is there are no separated parts in the arms that come out. It's just one long piece that gets exposed, which means that all the internals are not exposed and therefore they can't get dented or damaged in any way. It's just a flush long piece that goes in and out. The side handle, which lets you carry it like a suitcase, folds open like this, and then it actually clicks in to where it needs to be, which means that it will never get in the way when sliding it into a boot of a car or next to another case. It won't get in the way or break off, and I don't believe it actually can break off because it's just so reinforced. Opening it up, you've got two clasps that you have to pull down in order to pull open, so it's not something that just clicks open. You have to release them in order to open the case, which I think is good. It can't just go open by mistake or click open when it knocks onto something. It needs to be opened intentionally. There are spaces to insert two locks, which makes it quite secure. There is just, in my opinion, no way someone can get in here if you lock it up. They'll either need an angle grinder or a saw or something hardcore to actually get in. It's got a pressure equalizer, which means that the air can flow in and out to equalize the pressure, especially if you're flying around and you've checked this in, which I imagine you can because it's so secure and will not be opened if you have a lock on it. So it's safe. Your gear inside won't have any pressure at all. Now the wheels are soft. I've only used it in the house to test it. It's smooth and makes no sound. That's what I have for the exterior. So let's look at the interior now. Inside you've got dividers that comes inside this square shape. So it's all very well cushioned. It'll take a couple of hits before it actually does anything to your camera. I have no fear of that actually happening. The design, the handlebar, it's all planned ahead, the wheel spaces. So this all fits very flush in the case itself. You've got a lot of dividers, and in my opinion, having more than enough is better than having too little. So you can really customize what you want and get what you need from it. Any shape of camera can be fitted in here and you can modify it as you want. It also has two straps, so if you have a long lens, and you need to strap it down and you're scared that it moves around, you can strap it down with these two straps that are attached with Velcro. Now, the most interesting part and the best evolution of a hard case, in my opinion, is the lid organizer. You have three pockets, and then you have a sleeve here for a laptop or a book or iPad, whatever you want. But what I think is quite nice, it opens up quite wide and it also closes quite tightly. So whatever you put in there is going to stay snug in its position. You attach it by pulling off I haven't done this yet, but you stick down the gluey part and then you have a Velcro attachment. It's attached with Velcro type of material. And then you have spots for two screws to go in to the case. This also fits into the case very well. And you've got two different materials, like a foamy type of material and the hard case that fits so well. When materials get manufactured, they have different properties. So expansion and contraction, depending on the heat that they receive and the material that they are. So this is a great engineering, and the guys who did it definitely know what they are doing. So that's the interior. So now let's see what what I can get into it, and I'll give you an idea of what it'll look like if you used it for a day's shooting. Let's talk about other hard cases. We all know the Pelican cases. The difference here is, I think, the handlebar that you pull out to pull it around. With the Pelican you have to like bend open a latch to actually get out the handle, which is quite strange that you have to bend something in order to actually use it. I don't think that is elegant design, where with this, with the thumb button that you press to release it, is much better in my opinion, and there's no bending of anything, so there's no damage that can be caused over time. I think they are equally as strong as each other. I've had the Pelican for years and I've had no issues, but I do think the interior and the design of the separators or the dividers and the platform that I've got here is much more suitable for someone who travels with gear, and especially with the lid organizer becoming part of the case. It's really a good development. Why would you have this rather than a backpack? I shoot in studio mostly, and if I do shoot outside, it'll be in urban environments. So the wheels here, they do the job, they get me by. All my other gear, like the lights and the stands that I use, all go into hard cases. So now I have another hard case to go, and it just looks more part of the total kit. When I arrive on set, I usually have to say hello to the client or the agency and my team, and having to come with a backpack on my back and having to take that off is quite a inconvenience, and where this is just pulling it and letting it go wherever I want it, and then I can say hello to everyone. There's no awkward pauses between arriving and saying hello, which is something that I pay attention to and something I've noticed, and which would be different now. Also, when we pack like a car or a van with a backpack, I usually ask them to turn the backpack upside down, because the laptop is usually in the sleeve against my back. Because if it's with the laptop at the bottom, all the weight of the lenses and the cameras are on the laptop, which bothers me, and that's why I turn the bag around. With this, there's none of that. It's just put it in wherever it wants to go. It can be at the bottom, top, on the side. I have no issue. It'll just go in there, and I will have no worry about the safety or the security of the laptop. It'll just be okay. If you've ever watched a review of a bag, they usually do a test where they try to show whether it can stand up by itself. And some bags are actually designed to stand by itself, as if it's a requirement now because of all the reviews that have been made on YouTube. There is no test needed here. It just does it. So you don't have to test if it'll stand up against something. It just does. Another advantage is when you open it, you have access to everything. Older bags usually had access from the top, where you had to get your hand in, so you had to search for things. The modern day bags, obviously, they can open on the back or the flap at the top, which is just as easy to get to, but often the bags have corners that you have to get into, or ladders that you have to unfold in order to get to the other parts, where here it's one space where you can see and access everything. Another advantage you have over a backpack is that there's no weight on your back. Nothing to carry. You just pull something. And if you need to have a bag with you, you can put it on top of the case and drag it along without having to carry it. Maybe the only thing I can think of that is different is that it's heavy. It's got weight. But it's not going on a back, it's being pulled, so it's not really important. But it is, you feel it is heavy. If you are in the market for a bag or a case, you should consider a case because of the reasons I just mentioned. It will last a lifetime. So when you compare it to a bag where it's usually a material that gets pulled and pushed and bent, you will have some wear over 5 to 7 years. With this case, or a hard case, it's an investment and will last a lifetime. It won't dent, it won't wear, tear, it'll just be there until your dying day. And that's why I think if you compare the prices and where this might be a little bit more expensive, if you look at it over a lifetime, this is one purchase where a backpack you will replace every 5 to 7 years. In my past, that's what I've done. To end off, I would say this will become my case now. I won't use a backpack. I will use this from now onwards. Anyway, I hope you guys like this. I hope the review gave you some insights and that gave you a better picture of what to expect if you get one of these.